Germany or where?
Well, I'm stateside.
You're home? What are you doing?
I guess I just needed a minute.
Ever worried about something so much you lose all ability to function and think rationally? Thoughts circle your head, your heart begins to race, your throat tightens, muscles get clammy, and suddenly the problem is the only thing on your mind. These are all characteristics of a panic attack, which occurs as a result of generalized anxiety disorder, also known as GAD. Panic attacks and hysteria are just extreme responses to anxiety and aren't necessarily the norm. Anxiety can just feel like being extremely worried about something. Because people respond to stress differently, oftentimes they don't think they have an anxiety disorder and are reluctant to seek help. And this can also be said about other mental illnesses such as depression, obsessive compulsive disorder, and PTSD. In Kevin Brill's TED Talk entitled Confessions of a Depressed Comic, he states that mental illness is one of the best documented problems in the world and yet the least discussed. History has shown these illnesses to cause people to do incredibly violent things. Many mass shooters are thought to have suffered from anxiety and depression as a result of being bullied. This is incredibly relevant to education because teachers can recognize some of these characteristics in their students and help them get the help that they need. Some soldiers returning from wars where they've witnessed atrocities suffer from PTSD. In recent news, Chris Kyle, also known as the most lethal sniper in the U.S.'s history, lost his life trying to help a fellow soldier who was suffering from an anxiety disorder. Nobody is truly safe from anxiety, and it is not something easily controlled. Famous people such as Abraham Lincoln, Johnny Depp, Kate Moss, Vincent van Gogh are all credited with suffering from this disorder. Anxiety does not discriminate based on race, gender, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status, or religion. It doesn't care if you are the CEO of a Fortune 500 company or if you're a struggling artist. So how do you know if you suffer from anxiety? The symptoms include fatigue, trembling, obsessive thoughts, increased heart rate, insomnia, and many more. Oftentimes, people don't realize that they have generalized anxiety disorder and think they are just being worrywarts. People think that their anxiety is just stress and they don't seek the help that they need. So what are we doing about this disorder? The first place for action is to change the way the world views mental illness. There is a stigma that people who suffer from these type of disorders are less of a person. Kevin Brill states, unfortunately, we live in a world where if you break your arm, everybody runs over to sign your cast. But if you tell people you're depressed, everyone runs the other way. That's the stigma. People are afraid to admit that they have anxiety because of the way the world views mental illness. The world looks at people who suffer from mental illnesses as being broken and weak. They feel sorry for them and sometimes treat them differently. Changing the world's views about mental illness is the first step in fighting against it. We should be encouraging anyone who suffers from it to get help, supporting them through the good and the bad days, and not judging them for something we may never truly understand. Acceptance is the key. Sometimes people just need to know that everything is going to be okay and that they are not the only ones suffering from this.